Good evening, Turks and Caicos. This is your host, Honourale, and I'd like to welcome you to this iteration of This is What's Up 3.0. And with me this evening for a great conversation is none other than our Honourable Ejay Saunders, the Minister of Innovation, Technology, and Energy. I got that right, right?
You got that right. You got
Yes,
that
I was practicing that for a while, so I just trying to make sure I got it. I got it. Just also Happy New Year to everybody out there. We're back and we're live, and definitely great to have Honorable EJ in the room with us tonight. How you feeling, man?
I'm feeling very well. I'm happy that I'm able to be your first guest for the year.
Definitely, definitely. You know, we got to start off with a bang. You get me?
And you should. No other way.
Nah, definitely. So, Honorable, you've been in this ministry. It's a new ministry, right?
Yes.
And you've been in ministry for just about a year
11
now.
months, yeah.
11 months.
Yeah.
We just be technical. 11 months. So I ask everybody this question when we start off. Some people don't like it, but either way, if you were to give yourself a grade, right, for your ministry from the beginning last year till now, what grade would you give yourself and why?
I would. I think we could make the case that we're a B.
Okay.
The reason why is that I stand to be corrected, but I think this is the first new ministry,
Mm-hmm.
certainly since we came in 2021.
Right.
I think people will sometimes would consider a new minister versus a new ministry.
Right.
And and when we came in 2021, we had a new minister.
Mm-hmm.
That was Honorable Robinson.
Right.
But he came in as Minister of Health. So the health was already set up.
Right.
And the new ministry at that time was the Office of the Premier. That was the new ministry that was created. And the Premier had staff already. So
Right.
that was not a brand new ministry.
Right.
And then there were times when they would do cabinet shuffles and they'd change some names, but they would take a piece of
Take a piece of one and add it to another one.
And
Yeah,
so you would actually have your permanent secretary, or they may say, well, utilities is with this person, and
Right.
this is over here. Put these two together, and so they weren't really creating; they were just moving departments around.
Okay.
But when I came in with the Ministry of Innovation, Technology, and Energy, it was a brand new ministry.
Right.
I had no PS, I had no head of secretariat,
Mhm.
I had no deputy permanent secretary. I still have any deputy permanent secretary. I had no office.
Right.
So literally for the first month, and this is not exaggerating, for the first month, it was only me
Mhm.
in the core ministry. We have departments, and so there were people in those departments, but I had no support staff. I had no PA, no permanent secretary, no deputy permanent secretary. It took about a month before I got an HOS, which was the first ministry staff that was part of the ministry, and it took about 2-3 months around Easter time before we got a PS. And now we're adding to it. We have we have an office space.
Have an office
You know,
space,
so
yeah,
there was
ministry.
nothing that was someone identified and said this is the office for your
Right.
for your ministry. You know, Radio Trucks and Caicos was in a building. It was in Stubbs Diamond Plaza.
Okay.
When I became a minister, I took a office spot there because they had space, and when the permanent secretary came, she came down there, and then when we had an office admin, she came down, and all of a sudden one day she put a female's touch on it, and it was the ministry.
And now it's the ministry.
Yeah. So I think we came a long way because like I said, we built a ministry from
Brand
scratch
new, yeah.
within 11 months, and we're still looking for an office in Grand Turk. So I still don't have an office in Grand Turk.
Okay.
But we are achieving something. So
Okay.
I think when you look at it and you go, what did you achieve over 11 months? The fact that we stood up a ministry
Right.
and achieved things.
Right.
I think that I would give myself, and my team a B.
Definitely. Because the truth of the matter is, like you said, it's not easy with a ministry from scratch.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not just shuffling around different things. Like the ministry never was.
I mean,
around
tell you the
before,
crazy
so-
thing about it. Imagine we had election in February. The budget was delivered in April, and there are things that I couldn't do during the budget because I didn't have an accounting officer.
Yeah.
So they would be there during budget challenges, and I would be asking for things, and I would be told that you can't even speak to that because you don't have an
'Cause you don't have an
accounting officer. And then there was one time when we went to the budget challenge, and they abruptly canceled it.
Yeah.
and said because you didn't have an accounting officer. So imagine
Wow.
other departments are saying that I want this, other ministries are saying I want money for this, I want money for that, and then I show up and they go, I'm sorry, no matter what it is that you want to achieve, you can't speak
You
to
can't
it
say
because,
that.
because you're not you're not the accounting officer.
But
and
you
your
have
accounting
one
officer-
now, right?
I have an accounting officer,
Okay,
but I was just
okay.
saying.
No, I understand.
And that, imagine that was all the way into the budget.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
was
no,
only
I got you,
2-3
I got
months
you,
later,
yeah.
you know, I couldn't even started to speak for things that I wanted to. So that ate up 2 or 3 months.
Right, right.
So technically, you know, I'm saying this for everyone, the premier too. Technically, we've only been really operating fully since about April when the budget was passed.
Okay,
to now,
okay,
yeah.
okay. Well, that's pretty. I mean, seeing that it is a new ministry per se, right? Not per se, it is a new ministry. Would you explain for the people out there, because it's innovation, technology, and energy,
Yeah.
right? Those are some broad terms, very
Yes,
broad
yeah,
terms.
yeah.
So you can explain. Can you explain to everybody what departments or what your ministry is actually in charge of?
Well, the innovation and technology portion is really IT, and so
Okay.
that incorporates the computer unit, which everyone knows. That was
Okay.
before it was DETI. DETI now it's DICE.
Right.
It's Department of Information Technology and e-government.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the Energy and Utilities Department,
Mm-hmm.
which I'd like to say Pelican Energy Fortis because
Okay,
it's the
yeah.
regulator. And then we have Radio Turks and Caicos, and we have CGIS, which is really the government information systems,
Right.
and consumer and government information systems, and that is the department that's really responsible for the gazettes. It gets the gazettes out
Right,
every week,
Mhm.
and then it prints other things for the government. So
Okay.
so the biggest department in terms of remit, in terms of the our undertaking, it would be the computer unit in terms of digitizing government.
Right. So you touched on something. I wasn't going to talk about it yet, but you brought it up just now about digitizing government. Right now, obviously, I know we've been talking about e-government for a while, and I know you are a champion for e-government. Where are we with that? I mean, I know I mean, you could school me on this. I haven't seen a lot of rollout on e-government in a while. So where are we with?
Well, the thing about it is this: the just to put it that way, e-government isn't like an application like Office
Right.
365 or Microsoft 365. You go in there and you put it into someone's computer and you click install, and all of a sudden there's e-government. E-government is really basically the whole digitizing of government processes, processes that are mainly manual, and and then you turn it into a process that you can utilize
Use it automatically.
computer and
Yeah.
or any type of technology.
Yes,
correct?
yes,
Okay,
yes,
so,
yes, you
So
can.
so you're moving from a manual base to one that you're using technology. You know, whether it's
Right.
you're using it on a computer itself, or maybe like an ATM machine or payment or credit card machine or whatever. So all of that would be like considered part of e-government. And so where are we? I mean, we when it's all done, what will happen is that you'll have each department being able to provide its services, particularly payment service. It will be the easiest one
Okay.
to the public electronically, and so you wouldn't have to stand in line to be able to pay government. That's one of
Right.
the easiest things, okay? Because as most people do, they spend their time in line paying government.
Very true.
The other things, like you may have a kid and you have to register the birth, those sorts of things will be done electronically. You go to the hospital, like your hospital records would be accessible electronically.
Right.
You're in school, and your school records will be done electronically. So if you go to university abroad, you'll be able to transfer those files. And so that's how it will look when it's all done. That the citizens' interaction with government would all be through an electronic process, whether it's on the internet, right, something like that. Now, there are some things that we're already doing electronically. So,
Okay.
for instance, everyone knows about the police records.
Yeah, that's happening
we
faster now.
know that migrant health. If
Okay.
you're a migrant health and
I
you're
heard
applying
about that, yeah.
the migrant health, down is migrant health portal that we are already doing.
Okay.
The other thing that we are working on, the big one, is the quick pay. And the quick pay allows you to pay basically for the regular consumer, you'll be able to pay all of your government receipts. Any government receipt, you'd be able to pay through an app.
How far along is that?
That,
I'm
that
sorry,
should-
I didn't mean to jump you
no,
up, but
no,
that's a very big important one.
no,
because-
but you're right for asking that because because in
Yeah,
2020 in 2023,
Yes.
I was saying, okay, this is what we're going to do,
Mm-hmm.
and I started looking into it. When I was removed from cabinet early 2024, the computer department kept on doing it on their own. Kudos to them. They kept on pushing on their own to do it. And but when I came back into cabinet, I thought it was ready. They told me it was ready, and I think out of being a bit cautious from their part, they left it in beta for probably longer than I would have. But
Okay.
it's ready. It's
Yeah.
they've already had people who've tested it, who've been using it,
Right, right.
and more than $300,000 in payments have been processed through it, so it's ready to go.
Right. Okay.
And so I finally saw the full demo of it in December.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm saying, again, I think it probably should have been launched a little bit earlier, but
Mm-hmm.
like I said, I think they were being very, very, very conservative with it. And I don't blame them because I think coming out of the system being hacked, they probably figured that we don't want to launch something too quickly and something happens, but it's
Right,
ready to
right.
go. And we will kick off marketing. We should have kicked off marketing in January.
Mm-hmm.
There was a little issue in terms of the marketing. But marketing of it will start off in about a week or 2 weeks,
Okay.
and the public will see it in about 3 weeks. It'll be very live. But a couple of people,
3 weeks.
No, certainly before it won't it won't go into the middle of February. I can
Okay.
tell you. The only reason why we probably wouldn't kick off marketing next week is because we want to do a demo for cabinet
Right. Right.
and bring cabinet up to speed and show cabinet what we're going to do around marketing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't think these things should be. Government is terrible at marketing things, and I don't think I don't
Yeah,
think
tell me.
I don't think this is something that you should just send on a press release saying
No,
government
no.
launches e-payment. And so we're going to make it a little bit more big deal around
So
it.
this will be across the board, across all departments.
All the
Anything
departments.
you have to pay for, because I know there's certain, I guess, government entities, and you can pay certain things with
Yeah.
now. But you're saying across the board.
Across the board, the
everything.
only receipt you won't be able to pay over it is like the telecommunications license fee, but that's for the carriers.
Okay.
HRTT for the hotels and
Mhm.
restaurants.
Mhm.
But any government receipts you would be able to pay. You'd be able to pay online from an app. And it works and it does, and we're going to be adding more features to it. I mean,
Okay.
there's some.
So that this is going to be on, as per the government website, a hub there, or it's going to be something separate.
No, it's going to be on the government website, but I mean,
Okay.
it's a web app, so you'll be able to run it from any device.
Okay.
There's still some more features to come because we're going to be adding kiosks to it, and
Nice.
so just to talk people through, the idea is that if you're going to pay by card,
Mhm.
debit card or credit card, you wouldn't have to go into Treasury at all.
Okay.
But there are going to be some people, of course, who want to pay by cash. So instead of sending them to the counter, the idea is that you'd be able to go to the kiosk, punch in your receipt number,
Really?
it comes in, and you put it in your cash, it takes it and stamps it and gives you.
So how far away is that? Because then what that does is it takes some pressure off Treasury now.
And what it does, it also allows you to offer these services 24/7.
24/7,
Well, even though
definitely.
you can use the app 24/7,
Mhm.
but for people who want to use cash, it allows you
Right.
to 24/7. It allows you to roll them out into to the Family Islands.
Okay.
And so I believe that will probably be around about midsummer by the time we add the kiosk to it. But like I said, I'm happy that that'll be a huge. It will be.
That is actually a big
It's
announcement
gonna-
on the stocks, because if you're telling me in a couple of weeks you can do.
Literally a couple of weeks, you'll be able to pay every government receipt
Okay.
for the technical consumer. I think.
I'm gonna hold you to that.
No, you can, I'm telling you, you can. I mean, like I said to you,
no, don't worry.
One
Yeah.
of the things that I don't do
Yeah.
is that I don't like to announce things before we get there. I like to under promise and over deliver.
Okay.
I think we're close enough now,
Mhm.
and I've been talking about it enough where people are saying where it is. So I'm close enough now, and I can't spring it on you. I can't.
Right,
on
right, right.
Friday, you
No,
wake
no,
up,
no.
you go
Yeah,
down.
yeah,
So I
yeah.
have to let the world know it's
Right.
coming. I have to put like a
Right.
trailer or something out there
Right.
to say this thing is coming. But yeah,
It's
we're
coming.
about.
That's how it works.
But it's ready to go.
Okay.
Like I said, the only reason why it's not live is because we want to market it. We want to do
Right.
a marketing campaign around it.
Okay.
But we are ready to go, and we're quite excited. And I think I was hoping we could by now say all of the lines will be gone in terms of treasury. I think
Right, right.
I think we will greatly reduce the lines.
Definitely
but
will.
by the end, by this time next year, there shouldn't be any lines in treasury.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We should have a show next
We-
year
we-
this
we would-
time.
we would
and
have-
let's
we-
see what's going
we,
on.
we would have made lines in treasury extinct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, hey, that's good to hear. Tax Kickers, you heard that?
No, I'm telling you.
Definitely,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
So, we talk about quick pay, and you talk about the kiosk. Is there any other ideas or any other things that the e-governance department is working on, whereas we can streamline? some government,
The is a few other things that we haven't started, but it's something that had started in 2023.
Mhm.
We're picking it back up now, but we're going to. We're working with the DMV to digitize the whole process around renewing your driver's license and
Okay.
renewing your car license.
Okay.
And so I would like to think in less than 18 months, but you would be, during this term of our
Yes.
government, when you want to renew your car license,
Mhm.
you would just go to the portal. You will upload your car information,
Mhm.
and all your ownership information, your insurance, and everything. And then what will happen is that you pay, and then you'll have a calendar slot with the dates and times when it's available.
Mhm.
And you'll say, okay, I want Tuesday at 2. Select it, and then that's reserved for you.
Right.
So you don't have to go down there and wait and everything. So when you go down there at 2:00, the person's going to be ready, the inspector's going to be ready,
Mhm.
and they're going to come out there with a tablet, and they're going to do all the inspections and everything.
Okay.
And then once it's passed, it will deliver you your decal. And if there's a problem, let's just say like your lights broke. or
Right.
something,
Right.
flashing,
Right.
then they will give you a printout of the reason why you didn't pass, and then it will go back into the queue.
Mhm.
And so then you can go back and choose which dates you want once you get the lights fixed and everything. So
Okay.
you don't have to, how people show up, and sometimes someone's there, someone may not be there. So it's not a hit or miss now. You'll be
Yeah.
able to select the time
Okay.
when you want to go and have it go. Now, I've talked.
I mean that sounds great.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, that sounds amazing. I'm sorry if I sound a bit skeptic of it, but it does sound
I'm telling
amazing.
you, that will happen. But
Yes.
imagine, as an IT person,
Yes.
and these are the things that I've talked to persons about. But imagine, once we build that,
Mhm.
then being able to not even have to go get an inspector. You'd pull into an area that's marked off for you to pull the car, and then a drone will come and fly over, and the drone will play the voice saying, "Turn your lights on, press
Yeah.
your brakes," and it'll
Right.
fly around the car and get all of the information,
Right.
and then be able to do it automatically, and then do the inspection. So you would be able to automate the inspection where you
Right.
you wouldn't need a person there at all. Now, when I say these things, persons go, "Well, why not use it? Should we have a drone? Why we just have cameras and in certain parts of the space? Like 4 cameras pointing at it." But I think the drone is better because the drone can then fly around, and up
yeah.
and down and take proper
The
inspection.
cameras have blank
Yeah,
spaces that you can't see.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And then if
So
it's a
the
big
drone is
truck, the
definitely
drone can come
better.
up high and go
Yeah.
down. But once we build that, you will start to see us move to a lot of AI
Okay.
and a lot of automation. But I believe I can certainly say during this term you will renew your vehicle license that way, and probably by the next term we'd start to build on the bolt-on things like automation, the AI and automation on top of it.
Okay. So that now what I was gonna ask is when you first said that, so that will cut down the time you get in your printing of your license as well. Then.
Well, you should be able to know, but even your driver's license renewal,
Right.
we're going to do driver's license renewal and vehicle license renewal.
Okay.
And driver's license renewal should be automatic. It should just be a matter of the system saying to you to basically verify this information. And so, because if you want to renew your driver's license, you don't have to go and do a driver's test or anything.
No.
So the only thing you should really be required to do is put up a new photograph, verify your address,
Very true.
pay, and then it kicks out a
And
new
then it
driver's
kicks out
license.
and you get a
And
new
so-
one,
and so-
right?
yeah, so
It should
the
be
whole idea is
straightforward.
that you are going to be able to go into the portal. It's going to show you and say, this is your current information.
Right.
Is this information correct? You're like, yep, I'm still staying here. You would then have to take a picture. So you'd be able to take a picture with your phone,
Okay.
and it will want to check what they call a liveness check to make sure that the picture's the same person who's
Right.
doing it. And it will compare that with the old photograph to make sure it's the same person, that you're not spoofing it.
Right.
And then once that's correct, then it'll come and say your driver's license will be available to pick up within 48 hours.
Okay.
Because then they're printed on the card, and you go there and do it. And so
Okay.
you should be able to very quickly be able to get your driver's license.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Well, I know the people of the country be very happy to hear that, because one of the biggest issues that we do have with not just government but with the civil is getting, IDs and different things that we need, birth certificates and other things. It seems like it's a never-ending thing of applications and dealing with this thing and that thing. Nothing is ever truly
People
straightforward.
realize how close we are. I mean, even take the things like police records that everyone is
Right.
associated with me. The only reason why, before I got the police record to redevelop, it was taking about
Right.
3 months to get police records.
Mhm.
And now we're to the point where if you apply in the morning, you get it in the afternoon. If you apply in the afternoon, you get it the next day.
Right.
But the only reason why it takes that long is because the police still want to physically sign it.
yeah.
Okay, they physically want to sign it. But we're at the point where if we made a decision, say we don't want the police signing it, and I'm happy for them to do so because they're turning it around pretty quickly. But if we
Right.
decided we can do an e-signature with a stamp on it, with an e-stamp on it, we can literally have a printer at the airport.
At the-
where
just
you
printing
apply,
off
you
it
apply
right
for
away.
your thing because most persons wanted to travel.
That's
you
true,
know,
yeah,
so
yeah.
we can say, well, listen, if you want it for work purposes, this is where you pick it up. If you
Right.
want it at the airport, you can apply, and you would literally be able to apply at the airport.
Right, right.
And then within a couple of minutes, get your police record at the airport. There's nothing that's stopping us from doing that now. The only issue, like I said, is the police wants to sign it.
Wants to sign
But
it,
if we
yeah.
make a decision that we want to do it rapidly,
Right.
we could put in an e-signature on it, and then once you apply for it, literally once you apply for it, within seconds it knows your record
It
and
knows
everything.
your record and
And you
everything.
could say have it printed, and they could say it's printed at this kiosk right here. And so
Okay.
you build it.
Okay.
We'll give you a code. You go in there, punch in the code. Couple of minutes, it's printed out.
Mm.
Pops out at the bottom. You'll be able to get your police. So we're just about there
All right.
to be able to revolutionize a lot of things that we've been trying to get for years.
Sounds
Okay.
good. Sounds good. So let's back up. So let's say, we're talking about e-pay, couple of weeks, months, whatever, and we're looking at
DMV.
the DMV,
Both-
and another about you say
I would say about a year.
So
Yeah, about a
about a
year.
year. I catch you about a year, and then we're looking at the general the digitization. You
Yeah.
know, generally we're looking at it be rolling out over the next couple of years for different departments. You would say.
Well, we are I don't want to speak for the Ministry of Finance, but I know
Okay.
one of the pressing issues that people talk about a lot is the business licensing
That was I
portal.
was going to bring that up as
And
well.
so I haven't really looked at the business licensing portal personally,
Right.
but I do know that a lot of people complain about it. So
Yep.
we will look at the business licensing portal to see if we can improve it. The business licensing portal is one where it's not a huge fix, so we should be able to get it fixed this year.
Right.
That's one of the things we have done. We will help government with the upgrade of SIGTAS, which is the tax software.
Right.
And so that will make it easy for you to be able to take payments like through the quick pay, but even for companies that make bulk payments.
Right. Right.
You know, they'll be able to make bulk payments to the government right from system to system
Okay.
without having to send someone down. And so we will help the government with that, and you'll see a huge improvement there. The national ID is one that we're working on.
I remember that.
We're pushing very, very fast. Worst case scenario, first quarter of next year,
Right.
2027, you'll see the first cards.
Okay.
If we hit our milestones, we'll start delivering the cards by the end of this year. And so,
And these cards should have what all information on these cards?
well, the cards will have the minimum your basic information. So you'll get a unique ID. You'll get your name, your date of birth, and everything on it. But the most important part of the card is not just the fact that you put it up and someone can see your name and on your date of birth on it, because the status card can do that.
Right.
The fact is that card will replace all of your other cards.
All
You'll be
your
able to
other
do
cards.
some pretty cool things with it. And so, but here's why, to me, why, because when we first came into government, I was speaking with the premier, and I said we need the national ID. Here's the reason why. In addition to all the other things we can do, because you'll have a card from birth to death, and
Right.
it'll be your NIB card, your NHIB card.
Right.
But here's the reason why I think it's important, is because from an immigration point of view,
Okay.
you will have three types of persons in the country. If you're a tourist, you should be able to walk up to someone at any point in time who's a tourist and say, prove to me you're a tourist. And then they would be able to pull out their passport and say, here's a stamp, or here's where my my immigration card gets stamped to come into the country, so we know who the tourists are.
Right.
Anyone else who's legally required to be here, you should be able to walk up to them and say, I don't know who you are. Prove to me that you're allowed to be here, and you should be able to pull out your national ID, and your national ID shows your status.
Right, right.
And then the other set of persons will be those who have neither of those things, and which means they'll be here illegally.
Very true.
And so that's why I say, so from an immigration standpoint, you should have persons with an immigration stamp who are who are visiting, someone with a national ID, and then those who are here illegally. So it becomes very, very easy to start to deal with the illegal immigration issue, because this card will be tamper-proof, so they couldn't just go down to some place and
print it over.
And print it off.
So that will take precedent over the work permit card, or work permit card will
we are going to a point where all of those cards will be integrated into this one card.
Okay.
So we were looking at everything. Your PRC card and everything will start to be into it, and so
as your because as we know, there's another thing with status. So as your status changes, you update your card.
It will be a medical card and everything too, because the smarts won't be in the card. The smarts will be in the back end. And so if a police, well, it's going to be a non-skills card, so it won't be your driver's license card, because you still have to do your driver's license. But let's say what happened. Let's say you go to school and your teacher scan your QR code in the back of it. The school system will bring up, even though it's the same number, will bring up your school records. But if you go to the hospital and they scan that same QR code, it will bring up your hospital records. So your teacher will not be able to see your hospital records. The doctor won't be able to see your school records. If you go to NIB and it's you scan it, and I will see your NIB payments and everything. If you go to NHIB, it will do something. So the exact same card will be able to the smarts will be on the back end, will be able to plug in. So you don't have to then walk around with, and then hopefully, and I believe it will happen, that the banks and Fortis and everybody will start to use that card as their main ID for even their records. Okay. That's actually pretty great. And you're thinking about, you said about a year from now. No, we're pretty far along. I mean, we're there's some legislation that they have to bring in, like 3 or 4 different pieces of legislation, but we're on track to deliver those this year. Even though my ministry is developing the technology for the card, the issuing of the card will come under the Ministry of Home Affairs, because it's around like naturalization status and everything. Definitely. And so we're looking for a location to make sure that we want a location downtown, so people don't have to go all the way up to Grace Bay to be able to get their card. So we're looking for a location downtown, and I'm pushing them very hard to make a decision on that, so we can. So in this budget, because this will be the last budget we will have before we start issuing cards. We may have some supplementary budgets, but the cards. So by the time we get to next year's budget, 2027 budget, we will be already issuing cards. So I need to make sure that all of the big ticket items are now in this year's budget coming up. So I'm pushing people, on making a lot of decisions.
So it sounds like you have quite a bit of things on the table for the budget this year.
Yeah, well, we're going to push. My job is to fight for my ministry.
Definitely.
But like I said, then sometimes there's ad hoc stuff. I mean, we're still pushing for the fiber optic cable. To get the fiber optic cable across the Turks and Caicos.
So what is the hold up on that? I mean, I know, like I said, that's another thing I've been hearing about for a long time, and I know I'm guessing since you have the ministry now, I'm thinking a lot of people would think that'd be fast tracked.
Well, the thing about it is the fiber optic cable comes is kind of in a gray area in terms of who it belongs to. It will certainly belong to Honourable Otis Morris's ministry, because it's telecommunications. But my ministry is doing the business case to make sure that we find the funding for it. And so where is it at? The problem with the fiber optic cable is that if you did it very, very, very cheap, you're talking about $15 million. If you did it very, very expensive, it's about $25 million. And so it's not so cheap where you can just find $2 or $3 million to build it, but it's not so expensive like the airport, $400 million. $400 million, And so it's one of those things where it's always a priority, but it's never urgent. It's never urgent. And so
until it is.
But so what happens? So what happens is this. Here's the thing. What happens that you would say, okay, we're going to put money away for the fiber optic cable.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, you go and you say you have a really, really bad rains for a couple of months. The road gets damaged, and you go, we need to fix these roads. We need to fix the roads to 5 keys. We need to fix it. We need to find $5 million over there.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, you say, what's the highest priority? Can the fiber optic cable wait for a couple of months, or do we need to fix the road?
Right.
Then you need to fix the road.
Very true.
Or you may have a case where you can have $10-15 million put away, and then all of a sudden you find that NHIB needs it.
Right.
Because the issue with the treatment abroad program, and you go, wait a minute, what's the urgent
what's
need?
the
The urgent need
Yeah, what's the
is
priority
fixing
right
because
now?
we got people who are sick
Yeah, you gotta
abroad,
take care of
so
your
we have
people.
to take care of the people. But
Very
the fiber
true.
optic cable can wait. So it's always
It's always
a
something
priority,
else.
but it's
Yes.
never an urgent. And
Right,
so
right.
and so that's the issue, is that it's been there for a while. But every time the government needed to do things, we would then end up moving it aside. But the premier they allow me to now come in and do the business case, and I'll do
Okay.
the business case to find the funding.
Mm-hmm.
I believe I know where the funding will come from.
Okay,
I'm
okay.
comfortable that now we're going to get the
That you're
funding.
gonna get
How
it,
we're going to
okay.
get it. And I believe that it will be funded fully by the government, not necessarily by the core government itself, but the government agencies who may be interested in funding it. Or it could be a PPP, a small PPP.
Yeah, that makes
And
sense.
so we will, and then do it. But I want to do it in a manner where the government is
It's the
is
owner.
making money from
It's
it.
making
It's
money
not
from
making
it,
money
yeah.
from it, and so that will happen. And then the final thing, and why, because that just kind of reminded me, is that my ministry also is working towards getting what they call the ACH, which is an automatic clearinghouse, which will allow the banks to transfer money between banks as fast as when you transfer it within a bank.
Right.
So if you transfer, for instance, between your account within the same bank, you get it right away. Well, now you'd be able to. If I could send money from an RBC to you at CIBC, once the ACH is up, and you'll get it as soon as I click send.
Right.
And so that's coming also. So we've already brought the cabinet paper to cabinet, and so cabinet has approved our approach. So our approach is to buy into the consortium. Because they have the consortium of banks that are doing
The banks,
it. Yeah. So I brought it up to say the same thing with the fiber optic cable. The idea is that government will have ownership in
Ownership
these
of
things.
that, yeah. Because I mean, you would want to have ownership of that government. You wouldn't want that to be private in no way, shape, or form.
So what we're doing is that we're creating our a special purpose company that will allow government to own shares and assets differently. So government will be able to properly now be able to have shares in the ACH company, or have shares in a fiber optic cable company, and those things. So we're going to be all before it was kind of ad hoc, where there was a private company owning shares in the airport before. But now we'll have a vehicle, and that vehicle will be able to have shares in a bunch of things. And then what will give government the ability to do is then start to, in the future, if it wants to create a stock market, it could say, well, you know what, I own 25% of this, then I'm going to make it available to the public to invest. Yeah.
Okay. So you guys do have a bit of foresight. Let's say.
Yeah,
a lot of foresight with it.
And thankfully, it's fallen under my ministry to
that's the thing.
to get it done. Yes.
Yeah. I guess it's just really like I told the other ministers, it's really a timeline thing, really, because a lot of people, we've heard a lot of these things, and at this moment people want to see a lot of things in fruition. I'm kind of happy that you said the 3 weeks, and then you gave some timelines on it, and that it's actually a real thing that's coming.
I've never unfortunately had the sexy ministries, the ones that allow me to go out there and be in front of the camera. But if I'm talking to someone about it today. If you look at most of the ministries I've had, my ministries have had some pretty good success because just to remind people, because some people tell me all the time that we'd like to see you more visible, but I don't think a lot of people realize that the Invest TCI grant bill was done by my ministry, not this new ministry, but when I was Minister of Finance. When I became Minister of Finance, it was only one category, and it was only $10,000 for micro. So now we got like 5 different categories, up to $30,000. That was done under my ministry. So I mean, I picked it up and marked it up. The same thing with the real estate bill, the same thing with the business licensing bill. That all started from me picking it up. So. And marking it up and saying, we're gonna change this. We're gonna change the whole dynamics. We're gonna make it better for Turks and Caicos Islanders. So a lot of times when I'm working on things, people think for like a whole year what's going on, and then they see the benefit 2 years later, and then they go, well, But I would say, people always say that it takes takes many years to be an overnight success.
Very true.
So so when you see the business licensing bill come in 2025, that started in 2023. But it started very quietly when we did the town hall meetings and everything. And so it's the same thing with a lot of the stuff that I'm working on now, that you will just wake up one day and realize you have your national ID card, but that would have been working on for 3 years.
Yeah. Okay. Now it's good to hear. I'll tell you that. Definitely. So also under your ministry, there's energy as well, right?
Yeah.
So obviously we know recently Pelican
yeah.
took over from Fortis, so they said they bought Fortis out, right?
Yes.
Right. One of the concerns that people had, I guess, was, we talk about fuel factor, we talk about pricing of electricity in this country right now. I mean, it's still one of the highest in the region, I guess. What is your department's involvement in that? And when I say involvement I mean straight up, like, is there any talks about limiting this fuel factor, down the pricing?
I'm happy to talk about it, okay, and so people can bring people up to speed on what's happening with it. Just to put in context for you,
okay.
in the 1980s, the government had owned the power company in Provo and in Grand Trunk and a number of places, and the government was struggling with it, and they found buyers for it, and so the government sold Provo North and Middle to a company called Provo Power Company, PPC.
Yep, I remember, yeah.
It was owned by the Crothers out of Canada. And they sold Grand Trunk and Salkey to Turks and Caicos Utilities, to the Blanchards. I'm not sure who they sold South Caicos to. South Caicos is called Atlantic Equipment and Power, but somehow PPC ended up owning AEP. And those licenses were for 50 years.
Right.
And so when Fortis came in about 20 years ago and bought PPC, they bought PPC. They didn't go there and bought a brand new license. They just bought the shares and those companies.
Right.
So when people go and say, well, how come they didn't have to go to government? Government couldn't do anything. Government couldn't do anything because they just bought the shares. They didn't do anything with the licenses.
Right.
The downside to it, though, is that when they bought it, a number of years had elapsed. So 20 years had elapsed off the license.
Right.
So the clock was still ticking because the way they bought it. So they didn't negotiate a new license. 20 years later, Pelican bought Fortis. And they did the same thing. They bought it. They bought the shares in the company. So technically, legally, the government is still dealing with PPC and PCU and everything.
Yeah, okay.
Even though there's a new company that owns those companies, that's what happened. But the problem is that the clock is still ticking.
Right.
And so so one license will expire in 8 years, and that's the license that's going to expire the earliest will be in 8 years, and the one that expired the latest will probably be in about 12 years.
Okay.
So those licenses will start to expire in 8 to 12 years. That doesn't help anyone at all. And so the whole idea now is that the company that Pelican Energy,
right,
it's now a big thing for us is to try to negotiate what the next number of years are going to look like in terms of energy, and so that happens to fall into the lap of my ministry to start to do it. Now we're working very closely with cabinet, so I can go and say I don't want anyone to say we're going to give them a 50-year license or a 5-year license, but all of that stuff will be agreed with cabinet.
Right.
But our job is to get the concerns of everyone, the investor, the consumer, government, and bring it all to my ministry, bring it all to cabinet and say, tell us what you want, the vision that you want for what energy is going to look like, and then we work with the investor, which is Pelican, and try to come up with an agreement that makes everyone happy. Now, I think we're in a very good position, because because one of the things about it is that we're pushing renewable energy for a large portion of it. So we're trying to increase the renewable energy mix of the power generation. So if you understand right now is that for all intents and purpose, 100% of the energy that's being produced is being produced by diesel. Okay, that's where the fuel factor comes in.
Yes.
Because it's the price of fuel at different times, and so the idea is that you have two rates right now. You have a base rate, which is fixed.
Right.
It's about 28 cents per kilowatt, and then you have another rate that captures the movement of fuel on the world market.
So who comes up with that rate, or it just because like you say, it moves every month. It could move a lot more. Is that something that the government, or at least your ministry, you work with them?
I'll explain to you how it's done. Just to oversimplify it, but this is how it's done. Imagine when the government did the contract with PPC and those all the way back, they said, okay, the price of fuel today is $100 per barrel.
Right.
Okay, barrel of fuel. Now they use different matrices to terms of the volume, but the world usually measures and price fuel on the barrel. So let's use the world rate.
Yeah.
So let's just say it's $100 worth of $100 a barrel of fuel.
Right.
And so they factor that into the price.
Right.
And so what happens is that then you go out there, and one day we know that it's not always going to stay at $100. It may be $90, it may be $130 per barrel. So here's what happens is that if the fuel on the world price drops to $90 a barrel, they've already priced in $100 a barrel into the fuel factor.
Right.
So into the base rate.
Into your base rate,
So what they do is that you'll get a negative fuel factor, because the negative fuel factor will then say we owe you a credit of $10 per barrel. Like again, we use different volumes.
Understand.
Now, if it goes up to $30 a barrel, $130 a barrel, sorry, goes up to $130, it only has $100 priced into the base rate, and they'll go and say you owe us now $30 more because the price of fuel have gone up, and so the fuel factor will capture that movement in the fuel. The movement in the fuel between whatever it is, they calculate the fuel to be.
Very true. Yeah.
So now, the easiest way to reduce that, and there's a few ways in which you can reduce it. One of the ways in which you can do this, you could say, okay, why is bringing in fuel into the Turks and Caicos so expensive? So let me give you an example. One of the reasons is that our port isn't big enough to bring the big ships.
Right.
So if the big ships could bring in more fuel, they could store more on island, and they don't have to keep coming back and forth. So it may mean a deeper port, and so that can allow bigger ships to come in and bring more fuel.
Right.
So you can look at that, and we can say, okay, let's spend the money making the port so the large ships could come in and bring in bigger fuel.
Yeah.
You may say, okay, why don't we do piping all the way from South Dock all the way up to Fortis' plant right along the highway, and so they don't have to truck it every couple of days. So they can remove the trucking fee, and they can just pump it all the way. So those are engineering ways in which you can solve it. But the other ways you can say is, you know what, why don't we make renewable energy a portion of it? And so we can completely wipe out diesel, then you wouldn't have a fuel factor with the renewable energy.
That's true.
And so now we can't just click our finger and just go from 100% diesel to 100% renewable energy.
Right.
One of the things we can say is by 2030 we want 25% of the energy production coming from renewable energy.
Right.
And so what will happen is that your effective base rate will effective fuel factor will go down, because the fuel factor isn't producing 100% of the energy. It's only producing 75% of the energy. And then we could say by 2040 we want 50% of the energy production to be renewable energy. So now fuel is only making up half of the cost. And so I think everyone thinks it's the easiest way, it's the best way for the environment to start to move to renewable energy. So those are the things we're going to be.
But what I will say about that, and I agree with you, it is the easiest way with renewable energy. But also, I know, like say we have Pelican now, I know Fortis was looking at that as well. And I remember it was years ago when they had a draft, renewable energy bill. And, I was pretty close to that because I was trying some renewable energy stuff as well. And I remember they had consultants down, and this was back in 2017,
that's coming to Parliament. That's coming to Parliament in the next couple of months.
2018, 2016, somewhere around there. This years ago, almost 10 years ago, this was talking about. And then I also know people, obviously, there was, I remember Fortis brought out it wasn't a bill, it was a thing where when you have your own renewable energy, you speak with them.
Talking about core and all.
The core and all of those things, right?
Exactly.
Which if we want to be honest, you look at the grand scheme of things, like I say, it wasn't really what was going to break the mold.
Yeah,
You
but
understand?
but now we're in a different time period because
Okay.
the technology has changed. So
Mhm.
solar panels have come down,
Very
and so
cheap, yeah.
we have solar panels that are giving you huge productions at very low cost. We have solar panels that can hold its own through very adverse weather, so go through hurricanes and everything. And so I think we have battery storage that can hold more energy. You know, even things like sand batteries and stuff
Yep,
now
yep, yep.
that you can utilize to store energy for a very long period of time. You know, in terms of the technology, in terms of the type of sand, you can actually hold energy in sand
Yeah.
for a couple like more than a week.
Yeah.
You know, a week or 2 weeks. So the point about it is that if you have bad weather for multiple days, you can still store the energy that you capture during times when it's hot. So solar energy has come the yield has gone up and the price has gone
The
down.
price has gone down,
And
yeah.
so the operators think that they could get much better return on the investment if they move to renewables.
So the renewable that they're thinking of is solar. Let's say.
Well, for trucks and cakes, yes.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay.
I would say, I mean, the operator can do whatever they want to do.
Yes.
You know, but I think the easiest and the cheapest thing is solar because wind farms require a large areas.
Very
of
large
land,
areas, yeah.
And because we're small, the issue is that there's no place that's miles from a airstrip.
No.
You know, everywhere within the trucks and cakes is very close to an airstrip.
True.
So even if you put offshore wind farms in South Caicos, just to say, even if you put
Yeah.
in South Caicos,
On the bank, yeah.
you'd be too close to the
Towards the
airstrip in
airstrip,
Provo.
yeah.
Even the airstrip in Provo, let alone the airstrip in South Caicos. And the problem is with that is that if you have a case of at nighttime or bad weather, visibility for an airline, they try to do abort a landing, take over to come around. They may come around and hit one of the wind farms. So I don't see any place in Turks and Caicos where you can put the wind farm and build them big enough where it won't be too close to an airstrip. Like even East Caicos will be close to South Caicos, will be close to North Caicos, where you could safely say this is the best thing to do. So so from an engineering point of view, the easiest would be solar, and then some type of a wind, some type of wave,
some type of wave. That's what I'm saying. Because there's also the
thermal.
hydro, there's biomass, there's a couple other things that we can do. But the thing is where does I guess your ministry stand? And I mean, I don't know how much power you have. You get me? Obviously, it's just convincing.
Well, the thing about it is this: I think we're in a good place.
Okay.
I think we're in a good place.
Okay.
I will say that what I don't like to do is I don't like to prematurely announce things.
Okay.
And and I don't like to announce things if it's really not my point to announce. So, for instance, I may know things, but it may be Pelican's
job to announce that.
Okay. It falls under them or the different ministry. I would just say that I'm very optimistic.
You guys in a good place.
That I'm very optimistic that we will do well with Pelican, whether it's within 12 months, 18 months,
Okay.
and I think that the public will be happy with the outcome.
You'll be happy because right now, well, the feedback from the public right now, I wouldn't say is generally positive. It's kind of the same way where it was before with Fortis, I guess.
I think in the next few days the public's going to even be more positive.
Yeah?
I can tell you that.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
it's-
Because I tell you, the fuel factor for different islands being different things.
Well, I mean, I will say this. I can say this.
Okay.
I can say this. One of the things that we that I've spoken with them about. It won't be tomorrow.
Right.
But one of the things I've spoken to them about is basically standardizing the fuel factor, having one fuel factor across
Okay.
all the entire Turks and Caicos.
Okay.
Now, I can understand why they did it in the past by different islands because, for instance, take South Caicos. South Caicos utility provider is actually Atlantic Equipment.
Atlantic
Power,
Equipment, yeah.
Okay, which is a different company from
Right.
DPC.
Right.
And so to ship fuel over to South Caicos means that it's a higher cost.
Yes,
And
I
so
agree.
that AEP, even though it's owned by the same company,
Right.
charges the consumer in South Caicos for that portion of shipping it over there.
Right.
But as I said to them, is that listen, South Caicos and Grand Turk and North and Middle Caicos may make up 10% of
Exactly.
your overall revenue and customer base. It's far
Probably 1
easier.
megawatt.
You know what I'm saying? It's far easier to spread that cost,
Yes.
additional cost, because you're only talking about the difference
Yeah.
in the cost of
And the
shipping.
cost
over
of
there.
shipping, yeah.
So you're talking about a very small amount. I'm saying it's far easier to ship to spread that cost across your entire base.
Mm-hmm.
The consumers and probably wouldn't see it at all. You may see a couple of cents on your bill, and then you have a standard fuel factor right across the Turks and Caicos. So I'm certain they see the logic in it. I
Okay.
mean, if you're talking about 50% of their customer base was paying these higher shipping costs, you would say, well, it's unfair to the 50% over here.
Right.
But when you're talking about like 90% of your base in one island,
Right, right.
the small little d, it's very easy from an accounting point of view to spread it right across the entire base. So these are things that I've brought to them in meetings.
Okay.
There was no pushback from it.
Okay.
They haven't agreed to it because we're going to be doing a new license.
All right.
But I can't see them. I feel pretty comfortable that
feel
from a
pretty
negotiating
okay,
point of view
okay.
that you within a year or two, but certainly within 18 months, you won't have different fuel factors for different islands. And I believe too.
And also a reduction on
No,
it
no, no.
because it has gone up quite a
Well,
bit.
that's what I was
in
just
all
that's
honesty.
what I was just going to say to you. And I say in the whole scheme of things too, I think it's we will have lower rates because
Okay.
the
You guys hear that?
No. But I'm telling you. I mean, the thing about this
Being
is,
away.
I mean, I'm not trying to preempt what cabinet is
Okay.
going to do. But let me just give you an example. The base rate is 28 cents
Right.
per kilowatt, and then the fuel factor is something. Okay, so the fuel factor it is anywhere. It can be 20 cents. It can be 18 cents. So I've
Be
seen the fuel
18
factor
cents.
as low as 13 cents, and I've seen it as high as 30 cents.
30 cents,
Now,
yeah.
the consumer didn't see it as that high because we subsidized it
remember
down.
that.
But
Yeah.
but it was certainly over 24 cents, and so let's just say let's just take a 20 cents fuel factor on top of a 28 cents. You're talking about 48 cents
48
combined
cents,
rate.
yeah.
What the consumer sees, the consumer doesn't see the base rate and the fuel factor. The consumer sees the 48 cents rate,
Yeah.
because that's what's on the entire bill. And so that's what I was speaking to them about is that. So what if we went to them, and I'm not saying we're going to do this, but let's just say we were able to give them 30 cents on the base rate, okay, but 15 cents on the fuel factor. You're talking about 45 cents compared to 48 cents.
Right.
Okay, so I'm saying so all of a sudden you have a reduction there.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to say that dealing with the fuel factor gives us a lot of room. Now I'm not saying give them a higher base rate. I'm basically I want a lower base rate.
Yes,
But
yes,
what I'm
yes.
trying to say is that there are things there are levers that which we could pull
Okay.
to ensure that the combined rate to the average combined rate to the end consumer is lower than what they're seeing today. And that's the type of things that I'm trying to speak with Ford as those about to say. What are the levers that we can pull to get a lower base rate? But if we can't get a lower base rate, get a lower fuel factor.
It's got a lower fuel factor.
So the combined rate
Yes.
overall is lower. And I'm spending many nights, up at nighttime, looking at the different levers in which we can pull. I know there's some people who, said, that can't happen. Some people not Pelican. But who thinks that it can't happen? But I'm confident that there are levers in which we can pull.
Okay.
That there are things that we can do very, very.
I mean, the way I look at it, like you say you're confident that there's this levels you can pull. There has to be some. At the end of the day, I know there's a deal that was signed now 42 years ago. Could say 8 years ago or whatever. But there has to be some sort of
38 years ago.
38 years. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So because 12 years.
Yeah,
and the
12.
other
One is 8.
One is 8 is
one is 8.
12.
One is like 10. The other one's like 12. Yeah.
Exactly. But but like I say, as the government and everything, obviously we have to think about the people, right? And right now the people are struggling, trying to pay their bills. So it's one of those things. So I'm glad you're having that conversation because it is one of the biggest things on people's mind. Right now.
I will say to you that when I
I'm
left
glad.
work tonight, I believe that there was good news.
Okay.
I'm not going to announce it.
That's all right.
But I believe there was good news. But I'm not going to pre-announce it. But I believe that when it's announced, you will look back and people will know what
you're doing.
we're talking about.
All right.
But I think that there's good news. But like I said, I want the public to know. I spent a lot of time looking at the rates, how we can get the rates down. I spent a lot of conversation with the investors around what we want to achieve. I one of the things I've always said. I think it surprised them. I always say to them, I'm not the minister of renewable energy. I'm the minister of lower rates.
Right.
Okay? Because the whole thing about it is that, yes, I want renewable energy, but the most important thing to me is to drive down the cost to the consumer.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's not just an energy cost. I believe that we should, as a government, should do everything that we can to lower the cost of living for persons. I mean, your wallet shouldn't be getting smaller and smaller.
Very true.
Your wallet should be getting bigger and bigger. You should be able to be saving more.
Well, and also, inflation is real.
And so my job, I see my job as is to work with the investor to be able to get lower rates to the consumer.
Right.
And it's like I said, it's a number of things from accounting ways in which you can do it, from engineering ways that you can get it down, from infrastructure things. I think that we're gonna do a little bit of each.
A little bit of each.
Yeah.
But right now, it's the renewable. I would say.
Well, like I said,
that's what it sounds like. I'm just getting that's what it's saying.
Give you an example. I mean, if we gave Pelican a 5-year license, then they have their accounting will require them to make a certain return on their investment within the 5 years. And so their rates will be higher because they have to make it back. If you give them a 10-year, now it's double the time. And so they could come down a little bit low on the rate. So you can even look at the license length, the length of the license life. You can look at, like I said, from an engineering point of view. We can look at infrastructure. We can look at, how, a mix of renewable versus diesel. So all of those things we're going to optimize to ensure that we get the lowest rate for the consumer and the best deal for Turks and Caicos Island.
Okay. Sounds great. Sounds amazing. To be honest with you,
And I'm excited about it.
No,
too,
I am. I'm hearing you say this, and you seem pretty confident about it. So I'm holding you to it. And at the end of the day, we only can see it when the proof and the pudding.
Believe me, I've done a lot of work
coming out. So
we've done a lot of work on preparing an MOU. Because cabinet you would have seen in the cabinet minutes that we approved some draft MOU that we're working on because ahead of giving them a new license, we want a working agreement over the next 12 months that's different from the licenses that they currently have. So we're looking at certain things. Like I said, I don't want to mention what's in the MOU because there's some good things that's in it. And I want to be able to, for Pelican, to have the opportunity, to at least them and government together, to be able to announce it. But there are some good things that we think that we're going to agree to. And but we have to run fast, because we don't want to, because anything can happen, The world is changing every day. I don't want to be 3 years away still working on a new agreement with Fortis. I want to get it done sooner rather than later. Sorry, with Pelican, and I want to get it a new agreement done sooner rather than later. That's subject to cabinet, of course. But I want I certainly can say this. I want to have a brand new contract that the country is happy with within the next 12 to 24 months. Yeah.
Sounds good. So we've covered e-governance. We've covered energy. And the next we say, you told me it's mic, right?
Broadcasting.
You got broadcasting. Right?
Broadcasting. I mean, there's some exciting things happening in broadcasting.
Yes, because RTC is under you as well, right?
RTC is under me.
Yes. What's going on with RTC?
We are one of the things that even before I got into politics, I've always said that I believe that governments have a moral obligation to provide news to its citizens. Okay. Now, you can either incentivize the private sector to do it, or the government can do it. In the UK, the public pays for it, and that's where you have the BBC. And in the Bahamas, you have Z&S that provides news, and then you've got now private news agencies. In the Turks and Caicos, the government had basically stopped at providing radio news. And then you had WIV, and then you had PTV, and then they've now come out of it because they didn't find it to be profitable to do it. But I believe that government needs to subsidize it. And so one of the things I've been saying a long time is that RTC needs to step up and provide news, not just radio news, but news that are delivering in the mediums that people are utilizing now. Whether it's Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, or whatever, and that we're going to transfer and build a news team and turn RTC into same thing like how we did with talking about Fortis in terms of the mix. Right now, you have maybe 80% of the content of RTC is radio, and then 20% maybe what I would call streaming, because you've got like the talk shows and everything that you can get. Again, but the idea is to increase that mix and start to move to news 5 days a week.
Okay.
You have, so you have a news team and you're providing news 5 days a week. We have like a TV channel, but TV as in not necessarily cable TV, but app channel TV, and it'll be made available in case the cable TV stations. No one's doing cable TV, but that's what right now. But the TV stations, the TV stations will be able to utilize them, sure. And so it was a vision that we came in with, and
that's exciting.
And we were when we moved into Stubbs Diamond Plaza. That was PTV was there, so PTV when they left two studios that we could have utilized. We would have had to renovate them, and but I'm happy to say that we are. It's more than a vision now. Okay. We've got equipment in the studios right now. We're going to be starting to renovate the studios, but we've got cameras, we've got equipment, we got
all right.
So we're almost ready to go. We've already tested out our streaming TV services. On the weekend, we did some TV stuff on our TV channel. So we got a TV channel through the app, and there's content going up. And so if you'd asked me about 2-3 months ago, I would have been thinking, I don't know when this is going to come. This is a vision, but we have equipment in. We've got high-end cameras in.
Okay.
So we, like I said, we're already testing out the TV production capabilities. We're doing it. Like I said, we're doing it at a low end, outside of like talk shows and everything.
Right.
And the next thing is that we're going to be coming into the budget. We're going to have a news team. And I think you will start to, if the premier allows me to, in the budget, we're going to certainly get a van, like news van. Full
news production.
Full news production, yes. So you may see one here, and then eventually, and me in Grand Tug, but it's one of those things where it's something that was a vision of mine 20 years ago, and then every time when I was a minister, I'm like, wouldn't it be fun if we had RTC when hardly anyone wanted it?
Right.
And I ended it up within my ministry. I didn't ask for it, but the premier gave it. But it was something that I was a little excited about. Yeah. And we said this is what we're going to do a year ago, during the budget a year ago. And now I walk into the studio and you see cameras all set up. And we're going to be putting in lights. We're going to pull down some stuff first and rebuild it. Because we don't, the stuff that was there are old, like around the wall and everything, but we're getting like televisions and rises and all this sort of
broadcast station.
Full broadcast. I'm telling you, it's one of those things. I think we're going to look back and you're going to think like, you're going to be like, I can't believe that they pulled it off.
Right?
But we shot TV content.
Okay.
On the road, the race that they had on the roads with the road dogs. Whatever
I remember them. Yeah.
We shot that on television content and ran it on through our app to make sure that it's working. And so I think, and I don't want to put the team on their on alert, but I think we're this close to being able to do the premier's State of the State address, which is usually in February. But I think we will be able to. We will be able to do the budget, certainly. Be able to do the budget.
Because, in all honesty, it is a gap that needed to be filled. Government and, different entities to do a lot of, to put on a lot of shows and do a lot of events and things that do need to be broadcasted by a government-backed, broadcast team. So definitely that is exciting.
I'm telling you.
I want to see you guys first thing.
But within about 2 or 3 months, you're going to see like news literally.
Okay.
I think it will come slightly after the budget, but I think I'm confident that we should be able to broadcast the budget.
Right.
And it tells you how these things come crazy. We started broadcasting the budget because when I became Minister of Finance, I didn't like the cameras that were in the ceiling of the auditorium. So every time you see it, was like
So
coming
looking
down your
down,
head,
yeah.
made you look like you're coming down your head. And so I called Andre Carr and I said, you think you can shoot the budget for me in 2023? And he brought his team down. And it went so well till Parliament started saying, well, we need to do it.
Yeah.
So then in 2024, it became even, they did even more.
Right.
And then and then in 2025 it'd be we did a little bit more. And now we're doing like full productions and everything.
Okay.
And so now we're going to, from that idea that we didn't like how the cameras was, the quality was poor. Now everyone treats it with like people are tuning in. We get
Right.
I mean, a number of viewers tuning in. You have back budget in interviews and stuff with ministers and the leader of the opposition and everything. There's a whole production around it now. And so, but I believe that by April, I mean, I'm almost certain we're going to push it. That will be taken over, not by outsourced.
Right.
Taken over by RTC, and you'll see RTC doing the production.
Doing the production.
Yeah,
that's exciting. That's exciting. Because there's no way. I mean, at the end, we had, like I said, we had WIV, we had PTV, but we don't have any, like I say, visual news team definitely that's out there right now. So it's a big gap.
But it's one of those things where there were a couple of years ago, people were, and I don't mean like within our term, I mean even before that, people didn't even want to be on RTC's board. People just dropping off because there was nothing going on. There's anything going on. And so they took it. It was a statutory body. They brought it into government. It was being treated like a necessary evil. It was being bounced around. And I can guarantee you, 2-3 years from now, everybody's going to be like, I want RTC. I want RTC to do under my ministries because
all right.
It's going to be very sexy. In terms of looking back, I think, because I think once people see it, just like how the budget, they're going to say, well, why can't we do this? Why can't we do it? Right. And then you're going to see the production going higher and higher and higher. Okay. And it's going to be a very exciting department. But I want people to understand where we are today.
Yes.
Enjoy the radio of and copy it down and do all of your recording that you need, because this is going to be gone, you know, and then we're going to have a brand new system, and you're going to be like, I remember the days when. Let me show you that because coming 3-4 months is going to be completely it's going to be completely different. And knowing me, if I still have RTC for 2-3 years, we will probably go into scripted content. Outside of radios,
and that's what I was asking about. They say original content. I mean,
and I don't mean talk shows.
No, I know. That's not what you mean.
Sports radio, and sports radio and cooking shows and stuff like that. I'm literally talking about like scripted, like sitcom, like a sitcom or something.
And the truth is, you do have some young people in this country who are already in that space and are trying different things within that space. So that's actually a great medium, to be honest, because you have a lot of minds already who have that, and we don't really have a medium here. So to be honest, to push that forward.
So we're going to do it, but I can tell you, we won't be having this conversation next year. We're going to be saying, because the cameras and everything are there. We're going to be buying more. I'm going to get that van. We're going to get that van inside that budget. We're going to have that van branded.
Okay.
And so when people start to see it, they're going to create a sense of pride, national pride, to say that's our news team.
That's our news team. Definitely. And like I say, I mean, just generally speaking, I'm glad to hear you say that. Like I said, because I do know of young people who are into that, and those who want to be further into that. So if there's a statutory body like you said, RTC was kind of going down in the popular vote of the people, and like I said, around the ministry. But if it turns around and then the government itself has a media house that they're pushing content and they're pushing productions and things, that I can really see that being a positive.
I'm telling you, we're very, very close.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where it's no longer an idea, like we're doing some stuff, but we are going to. I can go as far as say I think we're going to push to be able to cover the budget. It'll be an RTC production, even if we have to outsource some of the camera, the camera production. I mean capturing, but we will do that, and then and then we'll be able to ask for more money.
For more money. That's just all about it. Yeah. But I mean, I know also your department.
GIS.
GIS.
Yeah, I don't want you to forget GIS.
That's true. That's true. You have that. You have innovation. So
there's only one more department we haven't covered is GIS. But go ahead.
Yeah. No, I understand. No, but because when I talked about young people, I was just saying I was thinking innovation at the same time. Yeah. So that's why I brought it up. And when you say innovation, do you is your ministry or your department, I guess, like, what are you open to different ideas? You look at different ideas that are brought here, because in a lot of conversation, people they ask questions like, why here couldn't be like a tech hub per se. Right?
Yeah. I mean, the thing about it is that all of the things that we want to do, we're not going to be able to find it, the talent and everything here. So of course, I'm open to ideas, and I mean everyone, and all of the ideas don't reside in my head or in the ministry. So we're always open to when people say, why don't we do this? Why don't we do that? And there's a lot of things we want to do. The main reason why Turks and Caicos isn't a tech hub is because we just don't have the bandwidth capacity. We've got one fiber optic cable coming into the Turks and Caicos. It's an old fiber optic cable. It's about 30-something years old. It's becoming almost end of life. And even outside of that, it makes bandwidth expensive. So we had another one, then, and particularly if it was one by a different company, it will push rates down. Right. And so most places like Bermuda and Jamaica and the Bahamas have multiple fiber optic cables coming in. It drives down the cost of bandwidth. It increases the speed that you can get. You know, even when I'm getting good speeds on television, you go back on Netflix and it buffers a little bit before it catches up. Yeah. Places like the United States, that never happens. You go back and it catches up immediately.
For sure. Definitely. I mean, it has gotten better over the years.
But it's not where it should.
It's still not where it should be, and that's what I'm saying.
You can't get a gig. You can't get a gig at home.
No,
and so we're still talking about 100, 200 and stuff like that. And if you check it, if you check the speed, it's somewhere below. And in North America, you can get a gig. Even in places like Barbados and those, you can get a gig, and you're getting it for under $100 and stuff like that. So exactly. That's one of the reasons why it's not a tech hub, because we don't have all the fiber optic cables to do that, because that's where it starts. Okay, and people think, oh, why not Starlink? Starlink isn't going to solve it. Starlink will solve connectivity if you don't have it, but you're only going to get 100, 200 with Starlink. You're not going to get a gig. It can't replace fiber.
It's still not going to be where it needs to be.
Yeah, so it's not going to turn the country into a tech hub. So the first thing we have to do is get the fiber optic cable built across the islands, and so it becomes the bandwidth in Grand Trunk is the same as bandwidth in Provo. Right. Because you shouldn't be in Grand Trunk getting 5 TV channels, getting 50 meg and people are getting 100.
Getting 100. I mean, you don't got to go as far as Grand Trunk, right in North Caicos. You understand? It's horrible.
So what we want to do is that we want to get Provo to the point where we're getting a gig, but we want that gig to be in North, Middle, South, Grand Trunk, and Salt Lake.
Very true.
And so we're going to spread that across. So the first thing we're going to do is get the fiber optic cable built across the Turks and Caicos, and then get more fiber optic cable companies coming into the Turks and Caicos.
Right.
And that's where we're going to get Tech Hub. And then, I mean, once we do that, you're going to see a lot of, I know people are still skeptical about it, but my backgroground is IT. My background is AI.
So
that's I've been in it since 1991.
Right.
So it's not something AI isn't anything new to me.
It's been around.
And so we're going to have a lot of automation. And it's one of those areas that I happen to know well, and the world just came around to it.
Right.
And so because I've been in it for so long. I mean, I have even a software product that's in the market since 2015. That's AI. I was IBM's 13th Watson ecosystem partner. I mean, I was the 13th person who get to develop applications on top of IBM Watson. Which is the AI computer that won on Jeopardy. That's how long I've been in it. But I believe that I'm comfortable that there are a lot of the things that you'd be able to do in government if we get the fiber optic cable and everything.
So that's really the base of everything else that we'll be looking at doing. Like you said, you talk about the AI and automated systems around the country and everything, and for us to get further within, at least for your ministry as well, to even push a lot of these things a lot further. The base of it is fiber optic, and we need to get ourselves to the point where we can actually take on these things.
Because the thing about, for instance, in terms of the things you can do with AI. I don't mean even just customer facing. I mean even in the background in terms of when you want to do land searches and all those sorts of things. When you
it's
when
amazing
you want to do
in all
digital, when you want
honesty.
to basically scan documents. You know, I scanned one day with a book scanner. It was like $400 book scanner, and I scanned 1,100 pages in like 3 hours. You know, by myself, and then I converted it using OCR. All of those 1,100 pages converted into editable text in like one night, like
One
3-4
night.
hours.
Yeah.
I started like 6 o'clock, and like
Yeah.
by 11 o'clock, all 1,100 pages was converted in text that I can utilize. And so all before, the government was spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to get documents scanned. So imagine now with very cheap scanners now with AI, you'd be able to convert all of the old paper documents, all the old land documents and everything like that very rapidly, and you'll be able to do searches, land searches and everything very quickly, and do other searches and stuff.
Exactly, because something like that is what is what our government definitely needs, and I guess what a lot of people hope to see with e-governance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like to get away from, like you say, we having to scan an old piece of paper and having to find, you can't find the paper because it's filed in one place and you got to go to the next place or whatever. So
But
definitely.
but even things like cabinet papers,
Yeah.
I mean, before it will take you. I think it will probably take a PS probably a day to do a full cabinet paper, a good cabinet paper. And I tried it to go from an action item where cabinet said, okay, do this, to producing a cabinet paper and teaching the AI to read what government was asking, what cabinet asked me to do, and then go out into the internet and grab the information and prepare a draft cabinet paper. And it took maybe about 30-40 minutes, but I got a cabinet paper that was about 60-70% complete. And then I probably spent like another half an hour to do it. So, with a bit of cleaning up, we can get to a point where we can have cabinet papers done a lot faster. One of the biggest problems we have now, even with cabinet papers, is that once cabinet gives you an action items, it takes a while to make sure, because the action items have to then be collated and sent to you to verify.
Right.
And then it becomes an action item. So it's a very slow process to go from cabinet saying, we want this, to becoming something that was actionable.
Right.
With AI, you should be able to turn it around into a couple of hours. That's something that's taken a couple of weeks now. And then be able to track those action items to make sure that they're carried out in a very easy way. Because sometimes action items go into a black hole because you say we want to do this, and then all of a sudden 6 months later someone goes, didn't we say this in cabinet? Like, where is that?
Yes. No, that's very true.
So you lose track of the action item. And so with AI, you'd be able to track that.
No, that's true. That's true. And also, I mean, we talk about AI and everything. So cybersecurity is under you guys as well.
Cybersecurity is on us, and we just hired CISO. So it's a cybersecurity operator, and so that person will be starting certainly in February, but no later than March.
Okay.
I believe in February we will have a new CISO coming on.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Because I know the cyber information. I got the security officer. I catch that. But yeah, I don't know because obviously there was the issue with the cybersecurity. I think it was last year.
Well, I mean December 2024.
2020. Yeah. So in the new year,
they got hacked.
They got hacked exactly. And with us going, like I said, forward, into, like I say, we're doing all of these things going forward into e-governance and doing quick pay and all these things. You know what I mean? Obviously, that is something we have to strengthen and be sure. Obviously, there's always things that are going to happen. There are people working around the clock.
The thing about it is that there are hackers out there who are very good.
Yes.
These are some of the best IT people in the world because it's far more lucrative for them to be able to hack systems and hold them for ransoms and stuff like that. And so you're always going to be finding persons who would be able to infiltrate systems and stuff like that.
Very
So,
true.
Very true. People may be working for the company that makes
That
the
makes it,
firewall,
and
they're
yeah.
selling
No,
the
definitely.
vulnerabilities to other people
Definitely.
because they can then turn around and make money off it. So you have a lot of things like that. But the whole idea is to have your system to the point where the recovery is quicker.
Right.
And so the last time, and that was the issue. The last time when you got hacked, the system was down.
Yes.
Certain systems were down for a long time.
Yes.
And you want to be able to get to a point. You don't want to get hacked at all.
No, but we know the event is going to happen.
But I want to get to a point where if the team called me up at 12 o'clock at nighttime and say, Minister, we got hacked.
Right.
This is what happened.
Right.
And by 8 o'clock in the morning, the public doesn't know about it because the system
is back up online, right?
Exactly, yes.
Exactly. And that with the way that we're going in the world, that should happen.
Yes,
it should never be a whole week out because obviously we're a whole country, and if everything is shut down,
that's the same thing. When I was with Digicel, a hurricane would come and knock down your equipment, and then they'll say, okay, you have the all clear, and the first thing they'll go is that these amount of sites are down. 90% of the network is off, and then the clock starts ticking. How quickly can we get the network back online? So we can't go back. Couldn't call up my boss and say, "Oh, we can get the network back online in 2 months." It has to be within 24 hours, 50% of the network is back online. Within 48 hours, 90% of the network is back online.
Yes,
and that's just how the world that I grew up in. So for me, if someone calls up and say our government system is completely down, the clock starts ticking, and if it's at nighttime, I want to know. How quickly can we get it up where the public doesn't cause the public any issue at all? We're not there yet. We still go, it's 9 o'clock and it's down, and it's going to be 12 o'clock before it comes up. But it's happening now, and we're going to fix it. But that should be unacceptable. We should be, the system is down. Give us 30 minutes. Give us an hour. The system is back on, fully back online.
Okay. Just a little shift. So, I get it where we, like I said, we're in the technology. We're in innovation, you know what I mean? My thing is with a lot of our young people coming up, right? Are you, as your department, do you liaison with the education department to see if there's any, I don't know, I won't say just workshops or whatever, but there's any ways that we can get a bit more of people into that, into like, let's say even like AI, even things like AI, like the actual useful use of it, not just ChatGPT and stuff like that. You know
I would say yes and no. I know the question that you're asking. What we did is that we partnered with the education department, and we did the Vancouver LAC system. Okay, and the World Bank had given us a target of they gave us 500 courses, and they wanted us to achieve 60% pass rate. We were doing so well. They gave us another 100, and we achieved 71% pass rate. Now that doesn't specifically. So we're partnering with the Ministry of Education and on certain educational things. But I think the specific question you want to know is that are we encouraging persons to do IT and do AI and do AI and get into, so we can then pull them back into the ministry? No, we haven't started this yet. What we've started doing is trying to attract people from the diaspora. But you're right. It's a good idea because I want persons to. Because there was a point in time when there was like you could count the number of IT persons on one hand in the Turks and Caicos. Now it's getting a little bit bigger. But I want people to know it's a sexy feeling. The thing about it too is this. I can certainly say out of the top 10 wealthiest people in the world, I can guarantee at least 8 people who made their wealth through tech. If not 10 out of 10.
No, definitely.
I can almost certainly tell you
Silicon Valley is full of them.
I can certainly tell you the top 5 out of 5 would be all people who made their money in tech.
Yeah.
And so I was joking with one of my friends the other day. We went to lunch. He made his money in tech. And we've been friends for a long, long time. You know, him and I, when BlackBerry used to be a big thing. And I'll just put it out there and just, brag a bit. One day, in 2012, when BlackBerry was the major phone, I spoke at BlackBerry World. I was on the stage the day after Mark Zuckerberg was on the big stage.
Yeah. Okay.
And he went with me because he did well. He sold one of his companies to Compaq years ago. He for like 20-something million. He created a second company that's worth a couple of $100 million now. And I think he's got like a $1 billion idea right now. So I've got a lot of respect for him. He's raised venture money multiple times. And we were having lunch at Mango Reef the other day, and we were joking because the reason why I brought up the BlackBerry thing, because when we were there, we were talking about how small we were compared to the other giants in the field, and we were saying, boy, we must have failed in class.
Right.
How big these companies are.
Yeah.
And like I said, he's did well. He created a company that that I know certainly is worth more than 500 million US. And and we were there talking. I said to him, I said, by the time we make our first billion, it wouldn't even be worth anything anymore, because guys are like, you got Elon Musk at like 800 billion. And not saying that we're going to make a billion, but I'm trying to say is that people are making such phenomenal wealth.
A lot of money.
A lot of wealth that big dinner. But like 5 years ago, if you created a company and it was worth $1 billion, it was called a unicorn because it was so rare. Now you create $1 billion company and no one's even looking at you anymore. Like everyone's creating $1 billion company, and so
100,000 more of those.
And so what I was trying to say is that if people get into tech, there's a phenomenal amount of wealth that you can create in tech. And as I've said to people many times, I said, it will be very difficult for me to create a company that's worth $100 million. But I can kick out $20 million companies basically in my sleep. $20 million ideas, and then create it and bring the team together. So what's the difference? 5 $20 million companies, the same thing.
The same thing, yeah.
And so, if I wasn't in government, and I know people go, "Why are you in government?" I mean, there's different reasons. I don't do things for money. I love my country. I want to give back and everything. But if they're $20 million. If you're a tech person, you can have a $20 million idea. It just comes down to execution and the ability to raise venture capital. So, if you get into tech and you could kick out $20 million company ideas very, 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 very easy.
So I agree with you 1,000%. You know what I mean? Because like when I was in uni, the same thing. Like a lot of the guys who was into IT back then, like they're really making it now. Trust me, you know what I mean. But I do think that there is a bit of a, not to say it's a disconnect, but a lot of the younger ones, they don't. Some of them don't know. Now obviously you have to do your research and figure it out yourself and everything. But I do think with it being a new ministry, you understand, like it'll be great, especially how now you have a lot of spots opening up. There'll be a lot of different you need.
So we want to bring in people. I mean, we
need analysts.
So we need like 12 persons, and so we're going to be bringing them on. So that's what I'm trying to say. But the point I was trying to make is that we have. I got to get persons who think. Stop saying I'm going to go into architecture. You know what I mean? Right. Architecture, whatever they want to call it. But I call it architect. But almost everyone. There was a point in time when everybody wanted to do law, and I find that everybody wants to do architect. Every time you're architect, what do you do? I want to be an architect because it's building. Very, very fast, and they think, and Turks and Caicos is building that way, and then people talk about things like, we need to do trade schools, and I know persons need to do trade schools, and we need plumbers, we need electricians. I don't want to sound like an educational elitist, but I would tell someone, learn to code, than just saying let's create trade schools. Now I don't want to get into the whole government's policy and government's policies around creating trade schools. I understand why it's necessary, but if I was speaking to a kid, I'd say try to learn Python. Try to learn prompt engineering and stuff like that, because even though the country needs electricians and plumbers and all this sorts of stuff, you can fill it. And so from a government point of view, we will go out there and say. The thing to say is just that we need more electricians, we need more this. But if you were being selfish, if the person was my kid, I would say, listen, learn to code.
Learn to code to get into tech. Well, I can tell you, because I'm in the construction background, most of the time they say architect because that's all they know. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's they are so-called the superstars of the industry. That's what people see. But obviously there's a lot more to it. But a lot of people say that because they see construction and that's that's what they know. But I do understand your point, because there is a lot more areas that we can look into. It's just that we have to get past just seeing what's in front of us. You understand me? We have to look wider and see all the opportunities that are there. And I do think that your ministry is one of the ministries that can show us, what is capable.
Listen, I'm telling you, with enough time, there's a lot of like I said, the main impediment is getting the fiber optic cable in. I think once you get the fiber optic cable in, you'd start to do a lot, to be able to do a lot of things.
So then we got to make sure that that's the priority.
Yeah, we have to. I mean, I think that we. I'm saying that it can be done, but I'm telling you the reason why I pause. The reason why I pause is because cabinet is kind of a collective responsibility, so sort of thing. So that may mean what I mean is this: I can walk in there and go, I found the 25 million. I want to build a fiber optic cable.
Right.
Okay. But I have a boss.
Yes.
You know, I have a boss, and he may say, or the governor, or the deputy governor, or somebody else may go and say, oh well, we want to do something else.
Yeah.
You know, and then it doesn't become the price. So it doesn't come down to me anymore. It doesn't just me. It
Yeah,
comes to
I
Ejay
understand.
Saunders. Maybe another minister wants
Yeah.
to do something. And that's the problem. Is that you have to convince the whole
The
room
whole room, yeah.
that this is the that this is necessary. Now, if it was left to me, and I was like, listen here, just tell me, find the money, and if I find it, you let me bill it. I think I would be able to.
But the way I look at it, the issue is it sounds like if we don't do that, then we'll definitely be. I mean, we're behind already. You understand me? But we'll be definitely left behind in a world that is moving very quickly.
No, man.
Very, very
Certainly, and to be fair to all my colleagues and stuff, I could literally walk in there and say, listen, I found it, but the premier may say, listen here, we need to get the airport done.
Yeah,
You know,
which is
we
true.
need to
Yeah,
get the
you're
airport.
right.
And if he said that to me, I would say to the premier, you know what? Here's the money for the airport, because we know that tourists are coming in. You know, can the fiber optic cable wait another 12 months while we fix the airport problem instead of people having to long lines at the airport? So that's the type of decision
Right,
you
very true,
have
very
to
true,
face
very
with.
true,
You know,
very true.
so I can, like I said, I can literally go out and find it. And if I come and he may say, listen, you found it, but I need it,
Yeah.
and we'll have to make it available for something else. But the idea is that we have to make it an urgent item,
You do.
and we got to build it. And I think once we build it, I think the
Possibilities
public,
and-
your generation,
Right.
that's used to quicker, faster,
Mhm.
you know, your generation will start to see a lot of things change.
And truly, that's what it is. And everybody we're used to quicker, faster, instant, right? And I guess I know instant gratification isn't a great thing, right? But that's what we're used to at this point.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why. To be honest, one of the reasons why I'm glad I got to speak to you today, because what you're doing, a lot of it, you know, like you say, there's a lot of background work. There's a lot of work that people don't see. You got me? So I really wanted to give you a chance to explain it and put it out there what your department has been working on. And I'm actually happy that, you know, you've got some things to show in the next couple of weeks and in the next year, and you have a plan going forward.
I mean, one of the things that doesn't fall on me, it falls on the Honourable Morris, but we have to fix is that we have to fix the IP issues, because where you try to download an app and it says you can't download it to your country.
Yep.
You know, your phone, you set up your phone as Turks and Caicos, and now you want to do something in Android, and almost a number of things you can't utilize it because they're saying that you're outside of the United States. So we have to fix those things, or it thinks you're in Jamaica,
Yeah.
you know, or it thinks you're in the UK, or it
Right,
thinks you're in
right.
a Latin American
Very
country.
true.
You know, where every time you go to a site, it takes you to the UK version showing you things in pounds, or it's giving it to you in Spanish. You know, we have to fix those things, and so there's little things that, in terms of the quality of life, because we're all digital citizens now, and so we have to
Exactly.
make sure the quality of life is better. So
Well, the world is digital right
Yeah,
now.
yeah,
So at the end of the day, that's why I always go back to us keeping up with our neighbors, because you don't want us to be left behind. We are a small country, but still we have the capabilities to be on a level or even further than a lot of people around us who are.
no, I think
that's how I feel.
I think we do. I think we can. We have the ability to leapfrog
Yes.
a lot of countries, and I think that, like I said, from a technology point of view, we need the fiber optic cable to come in. And I think once that happens, you will just gradually start to see these.
Okay.
It's kind of like when Provo first got its big airstrip.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
then you went from 2 or 3 flights a week to a flight every day.
Every
And
day.
then you go to the airport now. You go, there's 8 jets on,
Yep.
jets on the tarmac. And so I think gradually over time you will start to see that the quality of life, particularly the digital life, will change once we get bigger pipes coming in. I think that will be. I will work with Honourable Morris quite a bit on making sure that we deliver that this term.
Okay. That's great. Now you did mention GIS. I know you guys don't work on that. So what is your department?
Well, GIS. I promised Ms. Tolbert, and this one is on me. We should have had it a bit sooner than that. But what we're going to do, one of the first things we're going to do. It's a low hanging fruit, so we should have. There's no excuse for not having it. but we're going to have the gazettes on online, but not just being able to download a PDF. We're going to tie it into AI.
Okay.
And so you'd be able to have an expert on the gazette. So you'd be able to talk to the gazette. So when people think about the AI, like there's an AI that I use now, and I can, as soon as I upload a document, it's an expert on the document. So it's an
Right.
expert on the Turks and Caicos Constitution,
Right.
the one that I use. So I can
Right.
ask it a legal question. And I can say, well, if I want to do X, Y, and Z, what does the Constitution say? It'll be
Right.
just like talking to the Ejay.
Right.
And it becomes an expert. So any document that you put into it.
Okay.
So what we're doing is that we're going to upload the 10,000 gazettes, I think that they have, a little bit more than that, onto online, into an AI that becomes an expert on the gazette. So you'd be able to go there and say, was this law ever passed? Or if I wanted to do this, is there a law that would stop me from doing
Right,
it?
right.
Or if I wanted to do this, is there a law that would allow me to do it?
Okay.
And we'll come back and say in 19, or whatever, like just say 1990, that this law was passed on this, and this is what the law says and everything like that, to be able to help you. So they're going to get that certainly first, and that will be before the budget, and it's far cheaper than you would think. That's like $20,000 to give them that capability.
Okay.
And I'm thinking about, this is new, but I'm going to announce it anyway. I'm thinking about asking Cabinet to allow them to move also into digitization in terms of scanning.
Right.
And so instead of outsourcing companies, giving them tens of thousands of documents and hundreds of thousands of dollars to scan documents on behalf of the government,
Right.
if we can get those bulk scanners and GIS, and so government departments, when they want to scan their documents as part of digitization process, they will go to GIS to deal with that information. And,
But then, see, something like that, that's a great idea. But something like that, you would ask yourself, or I would ask, why hasn't that been done already? It seems so straightforward.
I know, but that's how it is. Can you imagine? We've literally spent, I don't want to say, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm almost certain we spend more than $1 million with outsourced companies scanning documents for government. And if
Decided me to laugh.
no, but I'm telling you, but if we wanted to turn any government department into a scanning department, it would probably be about 100,000, maybe 150,000 on the absolute high side.
Yeah.
But about $100,000. But we spend more than $1 million outsourcing it. So that's the reason why I want to bring it in house. I want to give it to GIS, get them some 3 or 4 different types of bulk scanners, and then departments will just show up, immigration or lands or whatever, will show up and say, here's 100,000 documents we need you to scan, and then a month later they're given a flash drive or put into a cloud space or whatever. And then say, here's your documents, and here back, and it's all scanned, and it would be done all in Turks and Caicos, and then you'd have persons, the young IT people who are in that department,
Right.
Scanning documents. So that's the vision. The vision was always to do it.
Right.
But the idea is, I was thinking, instead of turning the computer unit into it, just use the department that's already doing documents
already.
So it's spitting documents out on one end.
Yes,
but the idea is they'll be scanning it
And
in
you
the other end.
scan it on the other side.
And then any other company in the Turks and Caicos that wants to go to digitize it, they'll be able to go to the GIS department and I get them to scan their documents for them. So it'll be a revenue.
I mean, that is so straightforward.
Yeah, it is.
So straightforward. It's amazing because, like I say, like me, I would think of it like, okay, that is social. Why would we do it that way? But I do understand what you're saying. That is something I think you should bring to cabinet and something we should push forward to.
So we're going to
because the other way is archaic. I ain't got no other way to say it.
Listen, we've got to do it. We've got to do it,
man.
The biggest thing is going to be because what happens is you're going to go there and say, I want $100,000 to get these scanners, and everybody go, oh well. But if the flip side of it is that we would still turn around and approve for the AG's chambers or the lands department to spend $200,000-$300,000 to get X amount of documents scanned. But we'll think, oh, GIS does Gazette. So we have to give them the understanding that, wait a minute, don't give the AG's chambers the $200,000-$300,000 for their scanning. Don't give this person, this department, $100, but give me $100 out of that to build up the equipment here. And give me 3-4 months to train staff, and we will do all of that scanning for you.
We just centralize the system.
Exactly, and then you don't have to pay that money. And so it's just a matter of making the case during the budget challenge to explain to them what they're going to get. But I'm confident by this time next year they would have had some scanners in, and they would have the GIS department would have started it. So yes, Ms. Tolbert. you're going to get it. So the idea is that I think it's about $100,000 in
Okay.
different scanners.
Okay.
But even if they say you can only have 20, there's
Right,
we
right,
could,
right.
We could start with something,
Right.
and we will start doing the because I think that's the best route. So
Okay.
government doesn't have to say, well, the AG's Chambers has got 1 million documents that they need scanned. We got
Right.
through 600,000, but the budget isn't there for the next 400,000.
Right,
But
right,
now you have
right.
a government department that has the capabilities to continue scanning.
To continue
for
scanning.
them, yeah.
Okay. That's that's pretty interesting. I'm honest with you. Are you? But also, does your department? Do you guys liaise with the police as well when it comes to technology as well?
The we do.
You
We
do? Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
we meet with the police. And
Okay.
the one of the things that we're working on is a safe city, smart city. So we're
Mhm.
looking at we've already put out the tender for people to help with things like smart street lights.
Right.
Because the roads are too dark.
Very.
And so my ministry's already put out the tender for a person to come and help it right across
Mhm.
smart government and
Right.
smart cities.
Smart
and
city, yeah.
I mean, and safe cities. Now,
Mhm.
we did that when murders was an issue.
Yes.
Okay, and so we were pushing for one thing. Now we're going to change it a little bit, but one of the things we have is that the roads are very dark.
It is.
And
Yeah.
so we're going to, I want to move to a point where light pollution becomes a problem in the sense that people are claiming that the roads are too bright.
Mhm.
And so we're looking at new street lights. They're going to be
Okay.
bringing in, and then we want to get to a point where we have CCTV cameras all over the streets where you never leave a CCTV camera. So when you turn down one road, when you're leaving one camera, you're
Yes,
going
you're
towards
going
another
to the
camera.
next one, yes,
And so,
yes.
so that's where we are. So that's the type
That
of
was
thing-
going to be my
Yeah,
very
so
next
that's
question.
that's the type of things that we're
Okay.
looking at. And
So where would you say we are? I mean, I'm coming down to the. I normally keep these but an hour, but I gotta. You give me a lot of material here. How? Like I say, I know you talk about CCTV and we talk about the smart light system and everything. That is actually great. You know what I mean? Because a lot of areas, even though we are seeing a reduction in crime, you know what I mean? Crime goes with seasons, goes up and goes down depends on who's around. So we need to. So it's something I still think we very well need. Do you don't have a timeline on that?
Well, the thing about it is that the tender already went
It's
out.
already went out,
went
okay,
out, and
okay,
so
okay.
we were waiting for the supplementary budget to be passed.
Right.
That was passed last week.
Okay.
To assign it to the consultant
Uh huh.
to start working on it. But we know what we want. We want the street. I was going to talk about the street lights. There are other things that we're looking in terms of tech for the police. Smarter body cams. We were looking
Okay.
at. And cameras for the car and vehicle internet services.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
so every car becomes MiFi device on wheels,
Yeah,
basically
yeah,
sort of
yeah.
thing. So it becomes a router on wheels.
Yeah.
And so we're looking at that sort of tech. And the other one, I'm just starting to think about it now that I should say it or not, but we're trying to use virtual reality for areas of approval. So the idea is that imagine using. Are you a gamer?
Yeah.
Okay. You have used the VR headset.
I have. Yeah.
Okay. So imagine being able to take any area that is of concern and digitizing it,
Mm-hmm.
and then being able to walk through it virtually to be able to see where the issues
So
are.
the issues are. Yeah.
Okay, so you'd be
Map
able to
it
take
out,
you'd be able
yeah.
to take an informal settlement,
Mhm.
digitize it aerially,
Mhm.
and then pull it into a gaming engine.
Mhm.
And then be able to walk through it like on the Unreal games.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
so that-
yep,
okay?
the game
Okay,
engine,
so
yeah.
it's a Unreal game is the
Unreal
game engine.
5, yeah.
Okay, and so you'd be able to like how you play Call of Duty and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like. So you'd be able to walk through a real part of Provo.
Mhm.
We have done a three. Well, I did it, but to test it. But we've done a 3D image of the gray space strip.
Okay.
Complete 3D image of the gray space strip. Where you could turn it around and move it
Yeah,
around and
yeah.
everything like that. And so it's called a digital twin.
Mhm.
And so the next thing then is to be able to turn that into where you can put point your point of view in terms of the avatar that you represents you on the ground, and then you can move through it. And so once we test that proof of concept, we'd be able to do that with any area of Provo. So imagine there's an area that we're concerned with. We'd be able to do a digital twin of it, and so the police will then be able to move around it and understand where things are, the problems areas are,
be tactical and
so,
everything.
And then play it out and do tactical simulations. Before they have to actually do a mission, and so it's no different from you remember if you were following the news and they were saying, why is it that the United States was able to go into Venezuela and get the president so quickly? And they said that what we did was that we created a 3D version of the whole compound and everything, and they were going through it. So by the time they got there, they
clockwork.
Knew, they knew exactly what it looked like because they built a replica of it. Well, it's the same thing, So the tools to be able to do the
that's
to
pretty exciting. In all honesty,
I actually have the 3D twin of the Gray Space Strip on my phone.
Yeah,
and then you can pick it up and turn it around and look at it.
Nice, man. Nice. You gotta show me that, by the way.
So the plan is to be able to work with the police.
Okay.
Where we can do that, and then you'd be able to gamify it. So we have the 3D twin already. We can do a 3D twin possibly maybe about a week.
Okay.
In terms of capturing it and then converting the
converting
video
it
image
into
vector image, into vector files, and then we then turn that into using, like I said, an engine, a gaming engine, to where you can make it where you can move around it virtually, and now we can already do it with the Street View stuff,
right.
360 degree
image.
But you can't walk through it. You
can
move through it, but you can't like literally go in a yard or whatever. You can't go in a yard.
Yeah, you're right. But there is limitations with that. So
you can walk down, and even though you can see it in high definition, the difference is that in the what we are seeking to do is that it'll become more like a gaming engine, so you're going to be going through rendering versus doing the video image. The difference with that is that we may say, I want to go into that yard, and then you'll be able to walk into the yard virtually and move around and walk through the gate and everything in the yard and everything like that. Yeah.
Oh, that is very interesting, actually.
So those are some of the concepts that we're looking at.
Good. I had no idea that you're probably working on things like that. And to be honest, I'm sure not only me, I'm sure all the listeners out there were surprised and got a lot of information from tonight, because definitely you did say your ministry isn't one of the sexy ones. Outside, you know what I mean? One of the sexy ones that they got to promote itself a lot, right? So I'm happy that I got all this information from you, because I sure learned a lot, to be honest with you.
Well, like I said, it's one of those things that I'm in tech, and we've been in tech for a very long time, and so these are the things that we've been working on. Okay. Because I got my head down, because I was about to show you I was trying to show you
well, you have the
3D of
you got it there
of the digital twin of Grace Bay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's
you may see it there. You can move it around.
That is.
Yeah, I mean, you can zoom in with your finger. You can pinch it and zoom in and move it out.
You're right. That is.
You can move around, and that's a 3D image. That's not a video image.
No, it is. It really is.
And you can zoom in right down to the lock. You can see pools. You can see windows, and everything. So imagine me being able to take you with virtual glasses and put you at ground level. And
you walk through. It does give you quite a bit of It does give you quite a bit of tactical advantage.
Yeah, it does.
That is actually pretty cool. That's all right. It's like Google Earth on steroids.
Yeah. So it is. But so it's actually the. I see that for me, you're like me sometimes. Sometimes I get lost in it, but I'll show you again where to bring up, and then we can Well, you could start from there. You can start
No,
from there.
no, no. It's definitely,
Yeah,
definitely.
So I mean, as you could zoom, you could move around different places. You do a
Nice.
helicopter flyover and everything.
Definitely. I mean, this is some groundbreaking stuff, and if you guys are using this, I mean, along with
Oh, yeah.
you know,
So that's one.
I mean,
So
that
so,
is-
so so that's the type of thing we
Okay.
speak with the police about, is to say how can we use tech to
Yeah.
give them tools that the criminals won't have, wouldn't even know that they have.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Wow, that's pretty all right.
Yeah, so-
All right, but I sure know that your department isn't wasting any time.
Yeah,
You
no,
guys,
yeah.
you guys putting in some work.
Yeah, we have.
And definitely. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
You know,
My pleasure.
it was about 2 hours, almost 2 hours.
Yeah,
of your time.
I think they gave us the 15 minutes from a long time.
Yeah, from a long time ago, but I was worrying about that.
Yeah,
You was giving me a lot of information,
Yeah,
and this was one of the longer ones, but it was very informative, and definitely, I don't want to take all of your time. Probably talk to you a little longer than this,
Yeah.
but either way, thank you so much for coming
Well,
on
it's
the
my
show.
pleasure.
You know what I mean? Hopefully a year from now, we could have another conversation and updates on all of these things that you guys are putting out. You're putting out the quick pay, putting out the national card,
National ID. Yeah.
the national ID. We're looking at expanding
RTC.
RTC,
Yeah,
and we're doing digitizing across all the departments. I mean, it's quite a bit that you're looking at.
No, I'm
Right?
telling you. I mean, the thing about it, and when you brought up the police, I mean, I love the police. I mean, the police know that they have a special place in my heart. But the police falls under the governor's office, and so but the police allows me to, from time to time, to come and speak to them and say, what about this? What can we do if we try
Right.
this? But I certainly want to get the police to a position where where the force is using tech that the criminals don't even know about.
Right.
Like we would be able to fly over a drone and you wouldn't even know.
You wouldn't
that
even
we,
know,
We've
right.
captured your area and digitized it, learned it, where the people are coming and learning all the routes and everything like that.
Yeah.
Just knowing that the police has more information on you than you would think. You know,
that's-
I want to be able to get them to that position. You know, but certainly. They won't be lacking for tech.
Yeah.
And that's where we want to get them to.
That's amazing. That's amazing. All right, Honorable.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate your time. Trusting Kickers, I hope you were listening. Definitely, we got a lot of gems from the Honorable Ejay Saunders. He told us a lot of things that his department is going to do. And trust me, I'm looking forward to all of the great things that you guys put out there. Definitely. And thank you again for coming. Thank you again for a great conversation. And hopefully we have another one pretty
Anytime.
soon.
Thank you.
All right,
Yeah, all
appreciate it.
the best.
All right, Thurston Giggers, that's it here. This is What's Up 3.0. You could have been anywhere, but you came here with us. So we thank you. Appreciate you. You guys have a good night, all right? Blessings.